Okay, dear Mattsons, there's so much pressure on our high school kids these days regarding their future and future plans in life, from college admissions, standardized test scores, high school resumes, and leadership and community service expectations. How can we help take this down a notch and help them realize their identity does not lie in these things while still making sure they set themselves up for success? Sincerely concerned about college.
Oh man, I'm like having anxiety just thinking about everything listed in that question. And I would say step one, all of us parents need to take a deep breath and realize that God is the one who created your daughter, your son, and knows the plans that he has for them. And that though we can teach our kids to be responsible and to work hard and to think ahead and kind of work towards goals, all these things are good. At the end of the day, it is God who's going to open doors and close doors for your child. And so when we get our perspective back in check, it helps us to lead our children in a little bit more confidence and with peace, less anxiety. And I want to say one more thing before I pass the baton to you is, really we're trying to grow and raise holistic, healthy children. And a lot of this pressure to figure out what college you're going to get to and what your career is ahead of time. And, by the time you start high school, you got to know where you're going. A lot of that pressure is creating what we would call workaholism that we see fast forward down the road when you're 40s and 50s and 60s, where we see burnout and we realize midlife crisis when we realize this isn't really what life is all about. So we have the opportunity to teach our kids to be a little bit more healthy and whole and to recognize that they're a whole person and that God wants us to play. He wants us to rest. He wants us to be bored. And he also has a calling for us that we can set our sights on and to sharpen our skills.
And to work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to achieve. And all of those things are good. But balance is actually pretty key in that. And yeah, we've worked with a lot of people behind the closed doors of counseling and coaching and organizational development who are super successful and, are burning out or burned out. And you can trace it back to those behaviors earlier on when the pressures were just off the charts and way too high. So best practice is actually as early as we can is to try to be modeling the things that we're talking about here. I mean, maybe parents first and foremost taking your own pulse for achievement. Coming from two achievers here.
Recovering achievers.
We've had to continually be mindful of that in our own journeys so that we're not projecting that onto our kids. And every parent that loves their kids, of course, wants their kids to have it better than they had it actually. So this is just us trying to practice the things, the values that we're preaching to them and trying to show them. And of course, what they see in us is more caught than taught, right? We've all heard of that before too. This is also a great opportunity to really work with your kids to help them to see who they are and how they were made, what their unique wiring is, and what motivates them, and how they best learn. And so. The scriptures talk about this, training up a child in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they won't depart from it. Well, that actually is more about that bent. Training up a child in the way they should go is about bent, how they are wired, how God made them. And as you do a good job, mom and dad or caregiver, whoever you are with that child in that life, affirming the things that you see and what they are and how they do, it means that they're less likely to give that identity or that sense of, this is who I am, this is what I'm good at and how I do, and they separate who I am from what I do in a healthy way. They're less likely to depart from that. That's what that's all about. So great opportunities to join with your child in the journey of discovery in that space. But you can't ask them to do something like deal with anxiety and chill out and not stress if you're totally burnt out and your adrenal system is fried, right? So great opportunity to practice that together. And nothing helps make a kid feel more normal when they hear stories of how you're trying to do the same thing. And it's a teaming piece in a family unit.
Yeah. It's a really important time in your child's life in preparing for launching. And so remembering that as they're preparing for college and they're choosing all of these things, use your words. So Jeff was saying affirm, use your words to remind them God has a plan for you. We can trust that plan, and that you go do your best, give what you can, prepare and do well. But at the end of the day, your identity is not in your grades, your test scores, or what college you land at. And in fact, there's a wide variety of paths for each of our kids. And so as parents, to try to step back a little bit and be creative and maybe think outside of the box of the traditional routes. Things are changing, and college is not always the best option for every kid. Or in my case, my parents didn't go to college, so it was a real passion for my parents to get me to college. It was a non-negotiable, and I look back and I'm grateful for that, because college can be more about becoming as a person and less about preparing for a career. And so thinking through the whys, where you're trying to launch your child, and then have those conversations with your young adult who you're preparing for their life, not your life.
Yeah, this is an adventure. And if you frame it that way and are excited about who they're becoming and getting a chance, like, I can't wait to see what you do and the choices that you make, and you're doing it with them and exploring options. And there are more options today than ever before, it feels like. That's going to set them up with a lessened anxiety to face things like the standardized tests and the pressures of college admissions. And, there's a lot of ways to practice and to do and the options to take. So we hope that encourages you today.
And at the end of the day, our world says it's up to you. But as believers and those who profess that we're following Christ, we trust that, again, it's up to God. So again, we don't throw our arms up and go, whatever, God, and don't do our part. But there is an anchor in knowing that we can't mess up his plan. We can't. And so keep reminding your kids about that every day, and remind yourself as well. And if you're raising a daughter, if you're a mom raising a daughter, I've been able to create these wonderful courses to help you navigate many of these years with your daughter as she's moving through her teen years. And if you're a mom raising a daughter in today's culture, you might be interested in the courses that I created alongside Christian Parenting called Helping Moms Raise Confident Daughters. If you want to learn more, go to cpguides.org. And also, if you like what you're hearing with the Dear Mattsons series, make sure you subscribe and share it with a friend. We really want to be a resource for all you parents out there, because you are the right person for the job, and we're here cheering you on.